Luka Doncic has officially inherited the Lakers, and the pressure is already astronomical. This isn't just a new superstar era. It's a championship or catastrophe gamble that could define the Lakers for the next decade.
Well, I think they're going to have one of the best offensive teams in the league. They still have one of the best offensive players in Luka Doncic. They got enough offensive firepower to win games in the regular season. There's only 4 teams in the Western Conference that I feel like that are better than them on paper. The Nuggets, Spurs, OKC, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Outside of that, they're right in the middle of the pack. But here's the thing. Tim, you know this, the middle of the pack doesn't mean nothing to the Laker fan base. I don't give a damn if it was Jesus Christ owning the Lakers, it would still be the same standard, meaning that it's championship or bust. And so now you start this new era of the official era of Luka Doncic has officially started, and now he's on the clock because the Laker fan base, they're spoiled. You know, they're built on championships.
Yeah, and look, the middle of the pack doesn't mean anything to Luka Doncic either. He's been to the finals. He's gotten a taste of that. That's the standard that he holds himself to. That's the standard he's going to hold the franchise to, and that's why he pushed so hard to go get the big man that he believed would give them a chance to reach those levels. And now, look, they paid a premium for Walker Kessler in money and in draft picks. And he comes into L.A. with some pressure on his shoulders, okay? It's a great situation for a big man getting a run, pick and roll with Luka Doncic, but the pressure comes on the other end of the floor. He better be a top 5 defender in the NBA this season because he is the only good defender in that Lakers starting lineup. It is on Kessler to clean up a whole lot of messes on that end of the floor to give the Lakers a chance to be in a conversation that goes beyond a second-round type of team.
But what if Walker Kessler isn't the real problem? Because the deeper you look, the Lakers' biggest gamble may be Luka himself, and the warning signs are getting impossible to ignore.
But what I really think is interesting is, did they overpay for Luka? Hear me out on this. The Lakers did not make, with Luka as their centerpiece, the opening night NBA TV schedule. Think about that. They would have with LeBron. So think about this. We view Luka as generational. He is the centerpiece. Here come the trophies. Mark Cuban, a pretty smart businessman, sold the Mavericks with Luka as the centerpiece. Championship head coach Rick Carlisle quit year 3 with Luka. Quit, walked away. The Mavericks traded him. And not for a big package. Jeannie Buss loved and still loves the Lakers, sold the team with Luka as the centerpiece. Mark Walters is selling the team, probably has to do with the feds. And the NBA bailed on the Lakers, who for the first time in 8 years will not make the opening night TV schedule. That is hard to believe. I mean, that is crazy. So there's a pattern here, right? There's a pattern. Just ask yourself this. Be totally intellectually honest. Luka's been in the NBA 8 years. Go to LeBron's first 8 years in the NBA. Do you really think 5 different people plus the NBA would bail on him? I don't. LeBron left Cleveland twice. Both times they collapsed, and they were begging him to come back for a third time to Cleveland. I mean, he left him at the altar twice. They went into the tank both times. They wanted him back a third time, and they're not even bad now. So, and we're all acknowledging that the Mark Walters sell is not something they planned. But I've said this about Luka from day one. He's better than Carmelo Anthony, but kind of the same. Atrocious defensively, never in great shape. I never know if durability, I don't think he's going to play 82 games in any season. He's been injured the last 2, missed a ton of games. And by the way, is he a great leader? I think he'll try to be now, but to this point, not really. You've had 5 different successful people in the NBA kind of bail on him. One of them appears to be explainable. But LeBron usually bailed on you, signed short contracts. There's like a Jennifer Lopez thing with Luka. The closer you get, there's something going on behind the scenes that's chaotic. I don't know what it is, but there is something going on. The appearances look good from the outside. There's a lot of turbulence. And again, we know Austin Reeves. We know Walker Kessler. You had to overpay. Understandable. I support both. But the really concerning thing is, here's your centerpiece. 8 years in the league. League's not putting him on opening night. Genie and another owner sell. Rick Carlisle quit. Cuban sells. I mean, Mark Cuban's a pretty smart. Adam Silver, Bob Iger know each other, respect each other, been in business for 25 years together, or however long they've been at that network. Nick Wright a few weeks ago said, go ahead, bail on LeBron, but I don't trust it's going to be rosy with Luka as the centerpiece.
I mean, I don't trust the Lakers to be able to build a team around Luka. They couldn't build a team around LeBron. Good luck. God bless, Lakers. It was a good run with LeBron. He saved your franchise and you won a championship. But I am not optimistic that they are going, like you said, oh no, they won't be better next year. Oh yeah, just punt another year of Luka Doncic's prime. That's a great plan. We'll see. I don't believe in their plan.
Yeah, and increasingly, durability has been a huge concern. So when I saw this news today, I just kind of looked on a macro level at Luka Doncic, and everybody's like, oh, they overpaid for Austin and they overpaid for Walker Kessler. And I think they did, but I think they had to. They'd backed themselves into a corner. And I understood them moving off LeBron. I really did at this age. But it is interesting when you consider all of it with Luka at the centerpiece for what I've been told he is. A lot of turbulence, a lot of team sales and coaches leaving, and he gets traded and they didn't get a lot for him. And you sit there as a Laker fan right now and you're like, what is he? Going to get 62 games, no defense, leadership, hopefully, durability, forget it. I don't know. I'm not anti-Luka. I'm really not. But it's just been a very interesting set of circumstances.
Luka Doncic has officially inherited the Lakers, and the pressure is already astronomical. This isn't just a new superstar era in Los Angeles. This is a championship or bust gamble. The Lakers should be one of the league's better offensive teams. Luka is still one of the most dangerous offensive players alive, and with Austin Reeves and Walker Kessler now beside him, Los Angeles has enough firepower to win plenty of regular season games. On paper, there are only a handful of Western Conference teams clearly ahead of them: Denver, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, and Minnesota. But here's the problem. Being middle of the pack means absolutely nothing to Lakers fans. This franchise isn't judged by regular season respectability. It's judged by banners. It's judged by championships. And Luka knows that better than almost anyone. And that's why the Lakers' biggest offseason move may have created an even bigger problem. Luka has already been to the NBA Finals. He knows what it takes to reach that stage. That's why Los Angeles went aggressively after the big man Luka believed could help push this team toward contention. Walker Kessler arrives with enormous expectations. The Lakers gave up 2 unprotected first-round picks, 2031 and 2033, plus swaps in 2028 and 2030, while committing to a deal worth roughly $130 million over 4 years. That's not a normal roster move. That's a franchise-level investment. And Kessler's job is clear: protect the rim, erase mistakes, and cover for defensive weaknesses around him. Because if the Lakers want to move beyond the second round, Kessler can't simply be good. He has to become a defensive force, especially after appearing in only 5 games last season because of a shoulder injury. But the more uncomfortable question isn't whether Kessler can handle the pressure. It's whether the Lakers are putting too much pressure on one player to fix everything. Because here's where this story gets controversial. Did the Lakers overpay for Luka? Not necessarily in the trade, but in everything they're now being forced to build around him. Luka is unquestionably special, but there are concerns that simply refuse to disappear. Defense. conditioning, durability, leadership, and availability. Last season, a grade 2 hamstring strain forced Luka to miss the Lakers' final 15 regular season games, and he couldn't return for the playoffs. The Lakers eventually reached the Western Conference semifinals, only to be swept by Oklahoma City. That is the nightmare scenario. You can spend the money. You can sacrifice the draft picks. You can build the roster around Luka. But if Luka isn't healthy when the postseason arrives, none of it matters. And that's why the criticism surrounding Luka isn't really about whether he's talented enough. It's about whether everything around him can survive the enormous expectations attached to him. The Lakers don't need Luka to simply make them entertaining. They need him to make them dangerous. They need him to make them legitimate. And eventually, they need him to make them champions. Because this is Los Angeles. Being a 50-win team isn't the finish line. Winning a playoff series isn't the finish line. Even reaching the Western Conference Finals wouldn't completely silence the critics. The standard is higher. And Luka is now the player sitting directly in the middle of that standard. That's why the Walker Kessler investment matters. That's why Austin Reeves matters. That's why every injury matters. Every defensive possession matters. Every playoff failure matters. Because when you build an entire franchise around one superstar, every weakness eventually leads back to the centerpiece. And now the real question isn't whether Luka can carry the Lakers into the spotlight. It's whether he can carry them all the way to the top. This is the bet the Lakers have made. They have one of the NBA's most gifted offensive superstars. They have added a high-level defensive center. They have invested heavily in the roster. And they've effectively told Luka, this is your team now. But that also means the excuses are disappearing. If Luka stays healthy, improves defensively, and leads this group deep into the playoffs, this could become the foundation of another great Lakers era. But if the Lakers spend another season watching their superstars struggle with durability, defense, and roster limitations, the questions will become louder. Was Kessler worth the premium? Was the draft capital worth sacrificing? Can the Lakers actually build a championship roster around Luka? And most importantly, did Los Angeles inherit the next Lakers legend, or did it inherit a superstar whose ceiling still comes with too many warning signs? The Luka era has begun. And in Los Angeles, the clock doesn't stop for anybody.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.